You can touch your toes and still throw your back out reaching for a cup of coffee. And trust me, it sounds backwards, I know, but I see it all the time. Honestly, a lot of the times it's actually the really flexible people who just keep getting hurt. And that's because what actually makes a body hard to break isn't necessarily stretching more, it's actually getting really strong at the very end of your range. You see, if you never train these end positions, your body will forget that it can even go there. What's up guys, it's Dr. Peter from MotionRx. I'm a doctor of physical therapy, and getting people out of pain and keeping them durable and resilient is pretty much what I do all day. So today, I'm gonna give you the exact mobility routine I'd hand a patient to bulletproof their body one joint at a time in about 15 minutes a session. 5 spots from the ground up. And the one spot that almost everybody skips, it's actually the one doing the most to protect you. And this one's gonna be coming up early. But the very last one, that's the move that I would keep if you could only do a single exercise for the rest of your life. So make sure you stick around for that one as well too. So here's the whole idea, right? And it's pretty simple once it clicks. Real mobility is how far you can get into a position on your own under control and then still hold up when there's still some load on you. That control part is really the thing that keeps you from getting hurt. And building this resiliency is actually pretty simple too. You see, all you have to do is take a joint to the very end of what it's got, and then instead of just hanging out there and chilling in the stretch, you actually get really strong there. And that's the whole trick. And it's what makes the range hold up when you go and load it up for real. And real quick before we get started, one thing, because this actually matters, right? This is just general prehab advice to build a durable body. It's not me diagnosing you through a screen. So if you've got any kind of sharp pain or something that's been nagging you for quite a while and just won't quit, it's probably a pretty good reason to go get it looked at. Not a reason to just go grind through a stretch on YouTube. Cool? All right, so we're gonna go from the ground up. So the first spot is gonna be your ankles. Nobody ever really thinks about their ankles until that's the thing that's hurting. You see, when your ankle can't bend, your knee ends up caving in and your low back has to pick up the slack. So a lot of the time, knee stuff actually starts way down here at a stiff ankle. So here's what you're gonna do. Face a wall, put one foot a few inches back from it, and drive your knee straight forward towards the wall while your heel stays glued to the floor. That's what we refer to as ankle dorsiflexion if you want the fancy name for it. Now, you might also feel a little bit stretch in the back of the Achilles and calf as well, and that's totally fine. Now, don't just sit there and lean into it. What I want you to do is to push into that end range, come back a little bit, and then push back into it again. Almost like you're doing reps against a stretch, because that's really how you build strength right there where you're the tightest. Now, if that feels way too easy for you, just walk your foot a little bit further back from the wall. And if it's too much, then scoot it in closer or pop your toes up onto a book or a plate so you've got something to drive it over. So give me 8 to 10 nice slow reps each side. Really own that bottom position each time. Trust me, getting your ankles moving again will cause your squat to drop lower, your knees will eventually calm down, and pretty much everything else we do today will get 10 times easier. And that's exactly why we start down here at the bottom, because everything starts with the foundation of our body. All right, the second spot, and this is the one that I teased at the start. This is the one that almost nobody actually trains, and it's your mid back. That's the part right between your shoulder blades that's actually supposed to rotate and turn. And for most people, if it doesn't rotate anymore, it's because you've been folded over a desk or a phone for the last 10 years. And this one really matters, so stick with me here. When your mid back won't rotate, that rotation still has to come from somewhere else. So your low back ends up twisting more than it should, and your shoulders end up reaching further than they should as well too. And that right there is a setup for a tweak. The tricky part is that it usually shows up way later, and then by then you're totally blaming the wrong spot. So here's the move. I want you to lay down on your side with your knees stacked up in front of you, and then take both arms out straight together. Now, take your top arm and open it up and over like a book opening up, and reach it all the way back towards the floor behind you while you turn your chest up towards the ceiling. Get out to your end range, breathe all the way out, and then gently pull yourself just a tiny bit further on purpose under your own power. That last little bit is the part that you're gonna be able to control yourself, because that's the whole point of this one. And if the floor feels like it's a mile away, that's totally fine. That's just gonna be what your starting range is gonna be for right now. So reach for a pillow instead and chase just a few more inches over the next few weeks. Shoot for 5 to 8 slow reps each side and breathe out at the end of every single rep. And look, sometimes a spot just stays stuck no matter how well you train it, or maybe it just keeps flaring up over and over again and you can't figure out why. That's not you being lazy or weak, I promise you. That's usually something pretty specific going on underneath that a routine on YouTube just can't see. You see, that's exactly what we do over at MotionRx. We actually put hands on it, we get the real weak link that's driving the whole thing. We find the underlying root cause, and you walk out with a plan built around what your body's actually doing. So if that sounds like you, then go ahead, hit the link below, and you can book in a call together and we can take a look. All right, now let's get back to it, because the next spot might be the one that desk life absolutely wrecks the most. The third spot spot is your hips, and specifically your ability to actually rotate them. You see, when you sit in a chair all day, your hips slowly just forget how to turn. Then you go play a sport, or you go to the gym and lift something, or you just twist around to grab something out of the back seat. And all that rotation your hip was supposed to do, it gets dumped straight back into your knee and your low back instead. So sit yourself down on the floor and set your legs up in what we call a 90-90 position. One shin out in front of you, bent at the right angle, and the other shin out to the side, also bent at a right angle. I want you to sit up nice and tall. Now here's the actual move. That back leg, the one out to the side, I want you to lift that shin just an inch or two off the floor, utilizing nothing but your hip, and then hold it right there. That tiny little hip is you building strength at the very end of your hip's rotation, specifically internal rotation, which is exactly the range you lost from all that sitting. And if you can't even sit up straight in that position, no worries at all. Just prop yourself back up onto a cushion or a yoga block so your hips sit a little bit higher, and it makes the whole thing way easier. I want you to do 5 slow lifts each side, holding each one for a couple of seconds. And yeah, I promise you, it's probably gonna shake a little bit crazy, but that shaking just means it's all those small little muscles in your hip working hard. All right, so that's your hips turning again. Now let's go check the spot where most of you are about to fail a test in the next 10 seconds. All right, so this next spot is your shoulders. And I mean, being able to get all the way up overhead. So I want you to try this one with me right now. Stand with your back flat against the wall. And I want you to tuck your ribs down so your low back flattens out. And now I want you to lock your wrists and your elbows out and raise both arms straight up overhead and try to touch the wall above you without your back arching up off of it. And a lot of you are going to find that you just can't. Either your elbows bend or your ribs pop out to try and cheat and compensate for it. And that matters because if you can't get overhead cleanly, then your shoulder mobility is gonna find some sketchy way to get up there anyways. And that's the shoulder that starts getting cranky on you when you press up overhead or when you reach for something or hang from a bar. So stay right there up against the wall, ribs down, and slide your arms up overhead while keeping the backs of your hands as close to the wall as you possibly can. Go out to that real end range, the one where you're actually not cheating with your low back, and just do slow reps in and out of it, owning the top position each time. And if you want a little bit more, then grab a light band or even a broomstick and hold it up overhead and pull it apart as you go. That little bit of load is actually what gets your shoulders strong and in control at the top range instead of just flopping into the range on its own. You're gonna be looking for 8 to 10 nice slow reps. And don't arch your back to fake extra range because we only want the range you actually own coming from your shoulders and not coming from your low back. And now that every joint is moving on its own, it's time for the one that makes them all work together. The one that I told you about at the very start. And this one's gonna be the deep squat. If you could only do a single exercise off this whole list for the rest of your life, this is the one that I would pick and hand you. I'm just talking about sinking all the way down to the very bottom of a squat and actually being comfortable enough hanging out there by yourself. It's a position we could all rest in as little kids, and then most of us kind of just lose it after years of sitting in chairs. And here's why it's the one that I'd keep. It's your ankles, your hips, your back, all working together simultaneously at the same time in their end ranges. It's the whole routine in one position. And getting it back is one of the best things that you can do to make sure that you can still get yourself up and down off the floor easily for the rest of your life. So if you want to have longevity, then this is a position you have to own. So sink down as low as you can go. Keep your heels flat and your chest up and just settle into the very bottom. If you feel like you're tipping over backwards, hold on to a door frame or a rack in front of you for balance, or you can even pop your heels up on a small plate. Once you're down there, use your elbows to drive your knees out a little bit, try to pry yourself just a hair deeper, and then relax, breathe, and own it. So what I want you to do is to hold that position for about 1 to 2 minutes, and then you can stand back up and run that back 2 or 3 times more. And once that starts feeling easier, now you can hold a light weight against your chest while you're down there, because putting a little load on the bottom is actually what makes that deep squat actually hold up under weight later on. And that's the whole routine, right? Ankles, mid-back, hips, shoulders, and the deep squat that ties them all together. 2 or 3 rounds each, about 15 minutes a session, 1 to 2 times a week, same as you train anything else. And if you keep doing this, I guarantee you, by this time next month, you've got a body that genuinely will be a lot harder to break and is a lot more resilient and stronger. Now, if I had to put my money on the one area that's gonna flare you up first, it's most likely the low back. So I actually made a full follow along just for that. What are the best moves to calm it down and build it right back up? It's on the screen right now, so go ahead and run through that one next and give your back the exact same treatment we just gave everything else.